Hello students, today we're going into the new topic of Year 5 English textbook, which is Unit 7, Study Skills. We're talking about listening and speaking skill today. Before we start our lesson, let me introduce the two characters in the lesson today. The first one is Bob, and then we have Tom. Hello Bob and Tom. Alright, now we look at the first picture. Bob always pays attention in class when the teacher is teaching. Picture number 2. Bob often uses thinking maps to help him study. The thinking map here, it can refer to I think maps or any kind of bubble maps that you use when you are jotting note or while you are doing your own revision. Next, Bob always studies in a cool, quiet and well-lit place. And then Bob always goes to bed early. From the picture we can see that Bob went to bed like around 9 o'clock every day at night. And then Bob often asks his teacher for help when he does not understand something. Alright, that's all about Bob. Now, let's look at our second friend, which is Tom. Tom usually revises his work at the last minute. The revises here means doing revision or doing some of his homework. Tom often studies near the television. Tom sometimes listens to his favorite music when he studies. Tom usually lies on his bed when he studies. Tom often talks to his friend when his teacher is teaching. Alright, so after finish both Bob and Tom situation when they study, we have a simple question here. Who do you think has good study habits and who do you think have poor study habits? What do you think, students? And why? Do you think that Bob has good study habits? Why? Or do you think that Tom has poor study habits? Why? Alright, next we're going to discuss about good study habits, which is very important when we study. The best study skills is we must have a good study habits. The first one, pay attention. Always pay attention. Make sure that you pay attention when someone is giving you knowledge. Second, plan a study timetable. This is quite important because we have to balance our time between study and rest. There a saying goes, no place and all works make Jack a dull boy. So if you study the whole day, it is not the correct way. If you are playing the whole day, it's not the correct way too. So the best way is you have to plan what's the time for study and what's the time for playing. And then we have do not study at last minute. This is very important. Whenever you know that you have spelling or you have tests or you have examination or your teacher is going to ask you questions or any revision, please do it early. Do not do it last minute, because when it goes to last minute, you might feel panic or you might be nervous that you cannot remember anything. Next, concentrate when study. Alright, the concentrate when study here is more or less like pay attention, but here maybe it can goes with like when you are study at home. You can find a good place, or maybe you can study in a room or a corner that no one is going to disturb you, that there's no other disturbance, like for example radio or television, so on and so forth. And then we have balanced study and rest time. Alright, this is what I mean when we need to plan a study timetable so that we can balance our study and rest time. Maybe we can study for 1 hour and then rest for 15 to 30 minutes. And then ask teachers or friends for help. Every time when you have problems or when you are facing something that you don't understand, always ask your teacher or your friends for help. And the last one is study in quiet place. We mentioned about this in the previous picture, that Bob studied in a quiet, cool, and a very nice place which can make you concentrate when you are studying too. So a quiet place is very important. For example, you can study in the library, or you can study in your study room or your own one. Alright, next let's see how to improve our study habits. The first one, finding a strategy for studying effectively. It can always make any difference for you. Alright, the strategy here means find yourself a good study habit or strategy. For example, some people they are good when they study in a group with their friends or peers or teachers or whatever else. But there are also some people who prefer to study by their own. So you have to find out which is the best strategy for you when you study. Number 2, design a place for studying. Alright, this is what we mentioned about previously, that we have to find a place which is quiet and comfortable when we study, so that there's no disturbance, there's no disruption when we study. Number 3, get plenty of sleep. Sleep deprivation can affect your memory, making it difficult to retain what you have studied. So always remember, an 8 hours of sleeping time is crucial, is important for us, because if we have enough sleep, we will have good memory. And try to sleep early and wake up early too. Next, make a fixed schedule. Schedule your study time for a certain time of the day and stick to it. After a while, it will become a routine. Or make a fixed schedule. It is like plan a timetable so that you know that which day you're going to study which subject. Alright, then we continue with take a break from your studies. Every 30 to 40 minutes to get something to drink or just to stretch yourself. It's not necessary that it is not a must that you must go out and play. You can just have a quick break, like walking around, stretch your body, or grab something to eat or grab something to drink after 40 minutes to 1 hour or an hour of study. And then rest for a while, like rest for 50 minutes and then get back to your study. Next, find a study partner. Alright, the find a study partner here is really important, because sometimes when you need someone to discuss or you need someone to explain to you. There's always someone there that can help you. So find a study partner. They can be your peers, they can be your friends, they can be your brothers, sisters, or whoever else, as long as they are helping you when you study. And the last one, set definite goals. Decide what you need to study on that particular day and set a goal of how much you will try to cover. And this is important, like for example, before we start this lesson, I mentioned about that we're going to learn about Unit 7. And it is only listening and speaking. So we know that all we're going to cover for today's lesson is only listening and speaking part. It's the same thing like set definite goals here. When you study, always set yourself a goal that you know until which topic or until which subtopic or until which page you're going to study for today. And then you try to achieve that. Alright, that's all for today. And I hope that everyone able to find a good study habit for yourself and love study. So see you all on next lesson.